I see it's very different, but I see parallels to the Julian Assange case. They wouldn't allow it to be anybody to watch it through Zoom, even journalists. I mean, you had to give your blood to get access to Julian Assange's trial. The judge didn't follow the law, even in Britain, in terms of what could be introduced in. Do you see, I mean, in some way, you are a human rights lawyer, but you also are a whistleblower. Do you see any parallels between what the international in the UK and American government has done with Julian Assange and what's being done to you right now?
I mean, I'm shaking my head. I mean, when the system wants to neutralize an important voice, it seems to be able to find ways to do that.
Right.
I mean, Julian's a journalist who exposed, corruption at the highest levels of the national security state. And, I think he's at a much higher level in terms of the threat than I am. I mean, I'm a human rights lawyer who wouldn't turn over his computer, to Chevron. But, what's sort of elevated my case is Chevron's ability as a major oil company to gain control of the state, to attack me. Julian's just being attacked directly by the state, by the U.S. government, and with the help of the British government.
Right.
So, and the help of the Swedish government, the help of various governments that are very threatened by the way he works, and so I think, and by the way, there's a lot of people around the world, right, who get attacked in this way that have less attention paid to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see this all the time in Latin America, where I do a lot of work. Environmental defenders are just, flat out murdered. I mean, they don't even bother with ersatz court proceedings. They just murder people.
Right.
And I want to acknowledge those people. Global Witness documented 219 murders last year of environmental defenders around the world. That's what I am. I'm an earth defender. That's my work in Ecuador. I do it kind of in court. I have a Harvard Law degree, so I have the appearance of someone who might be sophisticated in the law, but my work is no different than someone who organizes a protest outside a pipeline in Honduras. It's all the same. I think what bothered Chevron most is our ability to connect indigenous people in the Amazon who had no money. Remember, I said they were rich, but they had no money.
Right.
And money is the currency in the world of professional services. So they had no way to get lawyers without money. And to connect the shamans of the forest with sophisticated U.S. lawyers and sophisticated Canadian lawyers and Argentinian lawyers and Ecuadorian lawyers in Quito. And then you throw into the mix wealthy individuals and even hedge funds that wanted to invest in this as a social justice mechanism. That was terrifying to the oil industry.
Right.
Because they count on indigenous peoples either A, never bringing the case because they can't pull together the resources, or never bring in the case because they don't know how to find a lawyer. And they just, so when they calculate how they do business, and this is no doubt what Chevron did in Ecuador, like, well, we can just dump. We'll never have to pay for this. We'll privatize the profits, socialize the costs onto the indigenous peoples, and who cares? And I guarantee that's what they thought. And it's environmental racism, but it's also more than that. It's just a pure economic calculation based on their assessment of risk in the 60s and 70s. They actually experienced what we did as some sort of unfair thing. Because, you know, when they went in there and decided to dump, they're like, well, this is the state of play and we'll never have to pay. So when we went to court, they're like, you can't do this. We already left Ecuador and this was our contract. I'm like, no, people are dying right now because of what you did years ago. You have to deal with the damage, and so, the scary part is the way they've been able to take control of the state and private company to lock me up. And, Julian has a similar set of issues. But, the only way to stop this kind of abuse of the law is people being aware of it and citizen outcry and citizen organizing. It used to be, sorry to go on and on, but I find this fascinating. It used to be in a liberal society, the courts were the bulwark to protect individual rights. And to some degree they are. I'm not condemning courts generally. But what blows my mind is the way a corporation or the national security state can actually shoehorn a court to carry out an agenda that actually has nothing to do with protecting individual rights, but has to do with suppressing them.
Right.
And that's the danger part. Look, people aren't surprised to see this. No disrespect to my many Russian friends, but you see this in Russia with Putin. They make up legal cases against Navalny and the political opponents of Putin. You see this in Saudi Arabia, obviously, with what's his name? Forget that guy's initials.
MBS, yeah.
MBS. You see it in Turkey with Erdogan. A lot of places.
Right.
So that element of sort of weaponizing the judiciary in a violent way to stop people from doing their work, to exposing corruption, to me is where we need to have more focus.